It's great to see such a turnout this morning. It's really my honour, on behalf of Acquired Brain Injury Ireland and EBIS, to welcome you all here today. Special welcome to our Minister, Minister Leo Varadkar, who's the Minister for Transport, for Tourism and for Sport, so we're really delighted that he's with us today. A big welcome for all our European delegates who are here. We have countries represented from France, from Italy, from Belgium, from the United Kingdom, from Ireland, North and South, and from the United States. I hope I've covered everybody. So you're really very welcome to the Aviva Stadium today. Acquired Brain Injury Ireland, let me tell you a little bit about it. 13 years ago, Acquired Brain Injury Ireland was then the Peter Bradley Foundation, and it was started because of Peter Bradley, who had a brain injury. And at that time, brain injury, not an awful lot was known about it. It wasn't a word that people used. So if you used, oh, so-and-so's had a brain injury, nobody really understood exactly what a brain injury was. They didn't understand that people could look perfectly fine, but inside have experiences of maybe loss of memory, difficulty organizing and planning, mood swings, lots of different psychological impacts in terms of emotional, as well as those who had a more severe brain injury, which would obviously you would see it physically. So these were things that people weren't aware of. So this group of people were what we would have called a silent epidemic. Nobody knew that there was this silent suffering going on. And that's very significant in terms of then we developed the services over the last 13 years, neuro-rehabilitation services in the community that helped people to rebuild their lives, to recognize those problems and to put in mechanisms, help, support, training in order to get people their lives back. And those people are people like you or me who could have a brain injury anytime, any way. You could fall. I'm very wary on my high heels that I don't trip and fall, but there are many that's happened to coming downstairs. It's as easy as that, okay? Or in your car when you're driving. It has happened in many different ways. So I think we need to be cognizant of that it's something that affects all of us. If you notice now, certainly people will now use the name. I notice that journalists, newspaper, medics will talk about an acquired brain injury. That wasn't always the way. We even have a character on Coronation Street has an acquired brain injury. That's something that would never have happened before. Our own homegrown program, Love Hate, had again featured brain injury. So it's something that's coming very much to the fore. I'm really delighted to say, and so we're getting more support for services. It's getting more recognised that rehabilitation really helps people with a brain injury. So what does that got to do with today? I think concussion is at some stage a little bit like where we were 13 years ago around brain injury. I think it's a condition that has not been identified as a distinct condition in a sense that it has its own symptoms, it has its own identifiable symptoms in terms of identifying what's happening. So if I can just tell you, some of you will see Acquired Brain Injury Ireland and they'll say, oh, you've got two logos here. And they'll look and they'll see the lovely colourful one we have, and then on our pens is our old one. That's a kind of a sign where we've moved as an organisation from looking at disability and improving and maximising people's ability to looking at connectedness and disconnectedness. When we talked to the people with brain injury that we worked with, we asked them what was that like in their experience, and they talked about feeling connected and disconnected. So parts are working, but other parts aren't working so well. And if you look at concussion, we're looking at, again, trauma to the head where the whole neurological mechanisms become connected and disconnected. So I think that's really very relevant for today. I think also we need to be connected, and we were very aware last night, we had the premiere of the Film Head Games, and I think we're all coming from our own perspective around this subject. So I think it's really important today that the interconnectedness of those who are clinicians, those of you who are coming from media, those of you who are coming from the sporting world, sporting bodies, those who have a commercial interest, and also the fans who like to watch the matches. Sometimes the more fighting and the more clashing that goes on, the more entertaining it is. So I think there are a lot of those perspectives I hope will be represented today. We have a really good panel of experts, but I know there's a lot of experts too in the audience. So what we're looking for is some really good, robust conversation around this topic. It's a very much a pro-sport programme. We're really wanting to see how can we make our players, our coaches, our parents, from all the way from the elite players all the way down to the 7-year-olds who play on a Saturday, how can we make it safer? How can we educate them around these issues? So without any further ado, I'm going to say welcome you all here. It's going to be a great day. I'd like you to introduce you to my colleague, Christine Coiseau from the European Brain Injury Society, who together today we're holding this platform for concussion.